It's Frank Burke again, and today out I've got a, this is a Tower Hobbies de Havilland Beaver. It was their Black Friday special, 129 bucks. Came with a float set. Had a little problem, the thing flies great, but it only flies, it uses 3S, which is fine. But both aileron servos failed after a day or two, and what would happen is they get stuck at center, fortunately. So all of a sudden, one of them wouldn't move and the other one would, and it would get real sluggish and roll. And fortunately, it flies just fine with rudder elevator, so I was able to land. Both times, I swapped out one servo, and then a couple days later, the other one died in the same way. And you'd touch the aileron, and it would start moving again. So something, I don't know if they'd been sitting in the warehouse a long time, and maybe the potentiometer got dirty or something, but it wasn't something I wanted to live with. So I wound up swapping both aileron servos for some digital metal gears that I had. I did contact Tower. Horizon is going to send me 2 replacement servos that I'll keep as spares. One other change I made is up here on the top of the model is a little hatch that you can access for the flap servo and getting toward the servos, and then also for installing the wings. You can see where the spars go in to locate them, and it has some little antennas on the top, but the battery hatch is on the bottom, so you got to kind of lay it upside down, and those antennas kept getting bent, so you'd have to take this hatch off every time, flip it upside down, and that got a little bit annoying. So I just put some Blenderm tape around the bottom and leave the little flaps of Blenderm sticking up, and snipped off the antennas, so I can still get at that hatch easy, but I can flip it upside down and access the battery to change it. The last thing that I did was, this came with kind of a cheesy pull-pull mechanism for the water rudders on the floats. It had a rudder on each side, but it used a rubber band to return to center, and you had to route fishing wire to the back of the model, and you had to take the tail wheel off and then hook the fishing wire onto each side of the horn that the tail wheel servo would normally run. And I had only seen a couple of videos of people actually trying to fly this off the water, and it looked like it kept trying to hook and do ground loops. So what I did is I got a digital Metal Gear waterproof servo from Hobby King, and I just ran a push rod, and I used the rubber band little standoff mechanism as a guide for the push rod to keep it from flexing, so I can move the push rod up a little further to help with CG, and just used a .039 music wire push rod, went right into the horn that was already there, and works great. And I just have one on one side of the one rudder, one float, and the servo came with really long wires, and it routed almost into the model, and I just routed up inside the battery hatch under the bottom of the airplane and hooked it into the gear channel of the 6-channel Spectrum receiver I had, and then I just mapped gear to rudder as well. So now I just have a single rudder, and I don't have to take the tail wheel off each time, and we'll give it a flight here. Okay, I'll come up here next to me maybe. And you don't want to move because the whole thing rocks and it gets a little dizzy. Mm-hmm. Okay, start. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I got takeoff flaps down, and I'm just holding full back elevator, and I'm just going to give it full throttle, and it should just take right off. It's already off, and that's it. Relax the elevator, put in no flaps, and it's flying. This is about 60% throttle on a Turnigy 3S 2200 pack. Has a nice scale flight look like that. Yeah, I flew this with the wheels on. Flies really, really nice. Very easy to land with the landing flaps on. Loops are real easy. I'll do a little snap. Snaps to the left real nice. I think I increased the elevator throw just a tad for that. But the lights on it look real good. I think it was quite a nice deal with the floats. Even with the replacing the servos, I'll roll upside down and do a little inverted. So it flies real nice inverted, not too much down elevator required. And even with the floats on, it's still flies pretty nice. This is still about 60% throttle. I'll come around. We'll do a It'll do an outside loop. Throttle up. Push it around. Real easy. It's got a kind of a scale roll rate. Bank and yank is fine. I have a E-Flight maul that requires a lot of coordination. It needs rudder in the turns to pull the nose around, but this one flies real nice. It's just aileron elevator, but it does fly fine with rudder as well, since I had to do that to land when the aileron servo had failed. But yeah, just real nice, easy stall turns both ways are nice. Reverse half cube and 8. Yeah, it's real nice on takeoff. Just hold full back elevator and give it full throttle and it takes off pretty quickly. It hasn't wanted to catch or jink or do any digging in or anything like that. I'll put the landing flaps on and do a little kind of low and slow. It slows down real nice with the landing flap setting, and usually on landing I'll have to chop the throttle almost completely to get it to settle. With these calm evenings or calm mornings with the smooth water, it just looks really nice with the lights and kind of flying around like a float plane would look. And right now with that 2200, I've got it set for 7.5 minutes. I'll land at 7.5 and then some taxiing in. And then I go back and put it on storage charge, and usually it takes a little bit out or just puts another 10 or 20 back in. So 7.5 minutes of kind of puttering around like this, doing a few loops and rolls, a little inverted flight. Seems like it's just barely getting it down to storage charge level, which is kind of nice with these, and that's a pretty long flight time. Doesn't have a ton of power on full throttle, but it's plenty for what you'd be doing with this kind of stuff. It's nice, easy kind of scale maneuvers, but that climbs just fine. About 2.5 minutes. Come around, do a little more inverted flight maybe. A little roll. Use the rudder to help her around just a little bit. The roll's fine. It just is a little slow. Adding a little rudder helps it come around a little sooner. Yeah, that's just very little down trim required for inverted flight. Yeah, just a real pleasure to fly even with the wheels on, just doing, 3-point or very easy wheel landings. They've got very nice aluminum stock landing gear under the little foam fairings, so they don't bounce. That's one problem I found with the Mall with the bent music wire landing gear. It was really bouncy, and you had to really be careful landing, or you just get a multi-hop bouncing. But with these fixed wheels and the little bit squishy wheels and the non-bendy gear, just would settle right nice on the wheels, and even on pavement or the matting material that we use on ours. You didn't need to land on grass. It was very easy and didn't want a ground loop. I think this is an old fly zone kit that Tower reintroduced.
Launch mode, landing mode.
Okay, about 45 seconds left. I'm going to put the flaps down, kind of talk through what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm making I've chopped the throttle almost completely, coming around. I'll just kind of let it settle and try to watch the... Alright, well that was a 2-hopper. It wasn't my smoothest landing, but
Launch mode. Cruise mode.
Doesn't do anything bad.
Timer stop. Timer start.
Sometimes I have a little bit of problem when it's really glassy like this with the bright light. It's real hard to tell how high I am off the water. I thought I was a little lower than I was.
20 seconds.
Now you can see the single rudder.
10.
It's real steerable.
7. Timer stop.
Only problem I've had is when the rudder catches a weed and drags it along. It's a little sluggish,
Timer start. Timer stop.
but there we go.